The purpose of offline assessment is exactly that, so that somebody can assess on a PDF document offline, and then upload the work that's been done. So I'm going to use, we're currently working with the caps, the grade 2 caps for schools, for kids to be able to load their portfolios. So it works like this. The assessor only the assessor can generate this. Administrators cannot generate this form as of yet. So the assessor would log in, and the context would be this. I'm an assessor, and we take Transnet as an example. I'm an assessor. I have to go assess 5 train drivers, and we have 680-page checklists that we've got to carry per train driver per assessment. So we have like 20 of these big documents we've got to carry onto a train to do the assessment over the day. So the idea here is I'm going to prepare for this. So the assessor comes and finds the student that they want to do the offline assessment with, and then they find the list. And what you will see now is this works for summative assessments, predominantly for summative assessments, not for formative at the moment. And you see this little down blue arrow here, and this is the offline assessment. So you're going to pick your assessment per checklist that you want to assess. And simply what the assessor do is they click on here. This does take a few minutes because what happens is it has to generate the checklist. And the more the checklist is there, the more it's got to generate. Okay. Once it's been clicked, when you go back to the student, what this now shows you is for this learner on this particular assessment, you cannot download it again at the moment. You've got to upload it now. So the assessment has to be conducted, and it has to be conducted on this particular file. So what we did was in the POE folder of the student, we put the actual offline assessment that's been downloaded into the POE folder. So if you lose it in your downloads, you've at least got it in your POE folder. And this is to assist with version control. So the assessor's gone in, they've clicked the down button, you can see it's version 1. And if they do version 2, I'll show you what that looks like. Now, in the downloads folder, you have the name of the learner, James Donald, or testing, think. You've got the checklist, grade 2, learner mathematics, and you've got the version number of the offline assessment. So I, in essence, would be assessing these 2 learners. Okay. I would now go and stand in front of the learner. I'd be there physically, or I would, be underground, or I could be wherever I want to be, and I open the PDF document. Now, when I open the PDF document, it now shows us this. Okay, so now what you get is the company, the assessment checklist for whatever it is, so the company names and details. You then get the learner details. You get the assessor details, and again, you can see this assessor is naughty. He hasn't updated his assessor registration in P4P. So, all right. And then you get the checklist that you are going to assess. And this would be all the standards, all the KM, PM, WM, unit standards, competencies, whatever that would be listed here as usual. And now the assessor can actually assess on this PDF document. They can actually rate it like I'm doing, and it works on tablets and works on phones. Obviously for 2, I have to give a reason. On a 4, I can give a reason, etc. But what's important now is once the rating has been done, it doesn't have to be everyone, although I've done it, it can be 1 or 2. I've got to sign it. So the learner and the assessor have got to sign it, and they sign it on PDF. So I'll click here as the assessor, and I'll give it the date, 10th of June 2025. Sorry, 10th of, I've got to get the date right, 10/06/2025. and I'll click here, and now it's going to ask me to sign. So I need to continue. Again, this is a new thing within PDF, not signatures, but how to do it. So you're going to edit this one. You can draw your signature, and you can apply. All right, then you save, and then you sign. Let's see if that worked. Okay, when you sign, it's automatically going to load the signed version back into your POE folder, into the downloads folder with the signed version. So it goes version 2. So I'll show you what that looks like. Or it's going to overwrite the one that's there. Okay, give it a second. Again, so if the learner will sign if you want them to, but there is a requirement for it because it's an offline assessment. Okay, you can't do future dates. Sorry. Let's continue. We're going to edit this. I'm going to draw. You can do a text, you do a draw again. So this is now the learner signing on your, let's see if this works. There it is there. You save it. The learner has signed it. So they sign it. It's going to save over again. Okay, there it is. But we need today's date. You can't do tomorrow's date. Or we can even do the 15th. Okay. Close. Let me close it up. Sorry, that was okay. So this is, as you see, you got to get the signatures in. I'm going to close it up. So in this learner's, which we've just signed, which was this one, if I open it again, give it a moment. Okay, and the date. Okay, so we've done it for James. Let's go do it for this testing person. I'm going to open it. There it is again. I'm only going to do two programs for testing reasons. So it's a little bit more tricky. Let me go to date. I'm going to sign first. Let's cancel. Okay, let's cancel this. Let's put the date in. 10/06/2025. 12/06/2025. Okay, let's go signature, continue. Oh, that's the learner, so I'm going to edit that. Edit that. Draw my signature, apply, save, sign. It'll save over like it's supposed to. Yes, we want to save over. There it is. Back to the learner. Continue. And edit. Learner signature, apply, save. And this can all be done with your finger on your tablet or your mobile device, like a signature. There it is. And then we close up and we save. Okay, so those are both done. Now what happens is the assessor now comes back to P4P, comes back to, they log back in, they come back to the learner list. Let's go to James. I'm now going to choose the James file because it's signed. So let's see if it likes it without that signature. Okay, you can see it, there's a little orange. I clicked the little orange upload and P4P is thinking. It's importing that, and you can see now that for James, there's all the ratings. There's the comment 1, there's the comment 2, there are the ratings for James. That was all done. So now I can move into save. So assessing, because everything is captured and I can make my notes that goes into the dashboard for remediation. So that way the assessor doesn't have to then recapture all the work that they've already done. It's already captured. And what you see now in P4P, when the assessor and the administrator go in, you can see that this has a version 1. So we know that this was downloaded already. It was already completed. And now we're going back to it. You can click it again and repeat the process. So all the information that's stored, I'll show you what that looks like. As that downloads, you can see that the original signatures are there. Man, that was the missing signature. And you can see the original ratings are here and the original comments. So now you can make more comments and the assessor can move on, or a different assessor can take over. et cetera, et cetera. And so that's how this works forward. And you can sign version 2, and you got up to 3 remediations that one checklist will cover, right? In the POE folder, what you now have is when the assessor logged back in and loaded this back in, it put it into a second version in the POE folder. So there's the original unsigned version. Here's version 2 with the first sign, and that would then version 3, version 4, version 5 as you go. So offline assessment, the assessor pretty much logs in, finds the checklist or checklists that they want to sign, downloads it into the downloads folder. They go and do the assessment on the checklist as they want to. They can update things, they can change things, details. They've got to practice, it's 1 or 2 practices to put a date stamp, get the learner to sign, date stamp, they sign. That will save over all the original document. You can see this is version 1 and version 2. And then once they've finished doing that on Friday, they go home for the weekend. They come back on Monday morning into a Wi-Fi area. When they're in the Wi-Fi area, they come back into P4P. They choose the file, which automatically transfers those ticks into the checklist area. They close the checklist area, and they move on, and that gets recorded for the dashboards. And that is the download assessment functionality.